This ancient principle, this ancient wisdom taught by those meticulous, sword-wielding warriors is a principle that you don't need a sword to carry out. It is a principle for life. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer, where armor is forged through mental, spiritual, and physical preparation. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer. I am your host, Carl Wimmer, and I thank you for joining me again this week for another podcast episode dedicated to improving your life, your health, your fitness, your longevity, your spiritual and mental health. I am super excited about this week's episode because I truly believe that the principle that we're going to talk about today can be paradigm changing. It can change your life. It can change the way you view your life, and it can really motivate you into action. But before we get into that, I would just like to remind you, if you haven't yet, to subscribe to our channel, to share these episodes with a friend or a family member. Help us to continue to grow this channel so that we can continue to bring you fresh episodes each and every week. Well, what are we talking about today? I've got to tell you, this principle is something that I'm so excited about because of the way it changed my life. This, believe it or not, is an old principle, and it dates back, as far as I can tell, this principle dates back to the ancient Japanese samurai. This ancient principle, this ancient wisdom taught by those meticulous, sword-wielding warriors is a principle that you don't need a sword to carry out. It is a principle for life. And it is the principle of Kaizen. Now, what is Kaizen? In modern terminology, you oftentimes hear people say, "Ooh, I'm getting 1% better every day, just getting better every single day." And this idea of self-improvement or getting 1% better every single day is a modern twist on this ancient samurai principle. Kaizen literally translates into small, consistent changes. And that's something that we are passionate about here at First Responder Fitness. Small, consistent changes. You see, everybody wants a huge change. Everybody's going through life saying, "Oh, if something would just change, if X would happen, if Y would happen, my life would be so much better." And you are expecting this big, massive change in your life to take place. That's why 10, 15, 20 years ago, all of these email scams became successful because people are so hungry for a major life change that very early on, I know some of you younger people would never have fallen for this, but very early on, when these scam emails were sent saying that the deposed king of Nigeria has left you $1 billion, people wanted so badly to believe that nonsense that they would follow up, and soon they'd be sucked into a rabbit hole, one from which they could not escape. But life doesn't work that way. It's very, very rare that a huge life-changing event takes place that makes your life better. The ancient samurai knew this. They knew that you could not take someone off the street, give them a sword and a helmet, and send them to war. They knew that it would take time, long lengths of time, improving their craft bit by bit by bit until they had molded from clay a samurai warrior, someone who was ready for war. They knew that there was no such thing in most cases as huge, massive, positive life changes. In fact, if you think of your own life, the big, major, massive events that have taken place, if I was willing to bet, most of them were probably negative. We're talking about job loss, divorce, death of a loved one, losing your home, COVID came and hit you, the economic and housing crisis of 2008. Every major event is usually negative. And so if you're one of those folks who's just sitting there waiting for something huge to happen, just understand whatever is about to happen that is huge is probably not a good thing. So what do you do instead? I'm going to do my best to keep this focused on the pillars of first responder fitness. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell you the roots of where I learned about the principle of Kaizen. I was a horrible high school student, and I mean horrible. I barely graduated high school. I had to go to day school and night school to make up for all the F's that I got during day school. It would not be until I attended college many, many years later that I'd graduate with my bachelor's degree, summa cum laude, and then I would move on to get my master's degree and continue on in my education in different certifications and in life. But in high school, I struggled. But there was one teacher who took me under his wing and taught me this principle of Kaizen. And he was a personal finance teacher. This teacher had patience with me and taught me the value of small increment, intentional life changes. And this teacher got me investing in mutual funds and in the stock market at the age of 16 years old. I started investing and opened my first mutual fund account at 16 years old. I have then taken those lessons and I've passed them on to my own kids. And so you know as well as I do that if you start investing small as when you're very young and you are consistent over time, small amounts of money invested over large amounts of time equates into massive amounts of money waiting for you at retirement. That is the principle of Kaizen. Small, tiny investments into certain areas of your life that will produce massive changes over time. I cannot think of any aspect of life where this is not beneficial. Physical fitness, mental fitness, spiritual fitness, your personal relationships, your personal finances. Now, like I said, I want to keep this focused on the pillars that are within the first responder fitness paradigm, our context, what we talk about each week on this program. But the bottom line is this: you can take these principles of Kaizen and apply them to your marriage, to your relationship with your children, to your finances. You know, the principle of Kaizen also can work against you. Now that you basically understand the way it works, small incremental improvements over time, making big lasting changes, it can also work against you. As you probably know, humans are creatures of habit. I mean, we wake up at the same time, hopefully. You go to bed at the same time, you're getting plenty of rest, but you have the same morning routine. You drive to work the exact same route every single day. You drive home from work the same route every single day. In fact, how many times have you driven home from work and not really remembered the drive home? You remember leaving work and you remember pulling into your driveway, but you don't remember what much in between. The reason we do that is because we get into such a routine that we really have become nothing but robots, robotic individuals who are living the same year for 70 or 80 years. That's terrifying. And if you don't take radical action, or it doesn't have to be radical. If you don't take intentional action to change your paradigm, to change what you want to change in your life, you will not stay the same. You will regress. The principle of Kaizen can work for you, or the laws of nature will work against you. I just want to use this as an example. We're not going to go into it too much, but think about your marriage if you're married. Are you just floating through your marriage? Are you doing everything exactly how you always do it? Are you just getting by? Have you been married 5, 10, 15, 20 years and things have gotten stale and your marriage is drifting and you're more like roommates than you are husband and wife? You're more like roommates than you are romantic partners. You would just as soon give your husband or your wife a high five as you pass through the hall than give her a flirtatious touch or give him a wink or a kiss or whatever the case may be. And yet you change nothing. You continue to go through this routine because even in misery, routine is comfortable. Even when you're miserable, routine is comfortable. But do you really think you're just maintaining? No. The laws of nature say you are degrading. You are drifting. You are pulling apart. If you think about the law of entropy, now this is not a physics class, but entropy just says that things break down over time if you don't come in and fix them up. Well, if you do nothing to inject the principle of Kaizen into your marriage, it will drift to the point where it is so stale, you don't even know how to fix it. And that can be applied to every aspect of your life. Think about your physical fitness, my friends. When's the last time that you've been to the gym? When's the last time that you took active, intentional action to better yourself, to better your health, to increase your muscle mass, and to better your longevity, to increase your longevity? You see, if you're not working on increasing your longevity, you're not just staying the same. Oh no! All you have to do is have a few more birthdays, and you realize you're not staying the same. The law of entropy is in place. The reverse law of Kaizen. You're not just staying the same. You're declining. Your knees are going out on you. Your muscle mass, it's a little down. You're not as strong as you used to be. You're definitely not as fast as you used to be. Getting up and down from your couch is a little harder. It's harder to see your toes when you stand and look down, okay, because your belly sticks out further than your toes. Your pant size continues to go up, so maybe that's increasing. You understand that you don't just stay neutral. Life is not neutral. And if you just float through life with your comfort and your routine, living the same year 70 times over, at the end of your life, you're going to look back and you will have lots and lots of regrets. It doesn't have to be that way. You can implement this one change in your life, this one principle into your life, and it will change everything for you. This ancient principle of Kaizen. Let's discuss that deeper as it pertains to your physical fitness. Can you imagine? Maybe you're that person, and I want to tell you, there's no judgment, nothing but love and support for you. I'm here for you. I'm here to walk through hell with you. But let's say you are the person who has not exercised in 20 years. You haven't even thought of a gym in 20 years, and you just ran into this video randomly. This ranting bald guy talking to you about fitness and ancient samurai principles. But you decided you want to do something about it. First of all, I applaud you for wanting to do something about it. But where do you start? You start small. I've talked about this before. I just mentioned it not too long ago in an episode where I talked about, you get really, maybe some of you get really motivated for the New Year's resolution, and you spend the first 3 weeks of January hitting the gym hard and consistently, and you get sore, and my goodness, you are just so motivated, and then something happens and the motivation goes away, and you expect that 3 weeks to sustain you for the next 3 years. I would much rather you implement a small thing and stick with it. You see, big, massive changes, they don't have any stickiness to them. Habits and rituals have stickiness. That's why we created the Habits to Healthy in 1 Year program, something that some of you may or may not be following. The Habits to Healthy in 1 Year program is a program here at First Responder Fitness that you can find all of the videos. They're in their own playlist on our YouTube and Spotify formats. They have a target, a little red, black, and white target. It says Habits to Healthy. And we are in month 9, I believe, of Habits to Healthy in 1 year. And they are small habits that we teach you each month that you can implement. They're not massive, they're not hard, but they're small habits that as you stack these habits, this habit stacking idea, if you stack these habits, at the end of the 12 months, at the end of a year, you will have stacked 12, 13, maybe 15 different habits that will change your life for the better, will improve your metabolic health, your fitness, your strength. The entire program of Habits to Healthy in 1 year is based on the principle of Kaizen. If you were to get up tomorrow and go for even a 10-minute walk, that's 10 minutes more than you usually do. And you are taking the first step using Kaizen. If you got up in the morning and decided, I'm going to do 20 push-ups, I'm going to do 40 push-ups, I'm going to do 1 push-up. Maybe that's all you can do. Maybe all you can do is 2 or 3 push-ups with your knees on the floor. Guess what? That's better than what you did the day before. And you improve small amounts every single day, every single week, month after month, year after year, and it turns into a massive, massive life change. You see, I lived this principle. When I was competing in powerlifting. I remember after learning about this principle in high school, several years later, the Old Muscle Media 2000 magazine came out with an article on Kaizen. And I loved the article because I already knew the principle, but it was a great article, great graphics, and it talked about small improvements every day when it comes to your health and fitness. And as I entered into powerlifting, I used this principle weekly. If I could just add a 1/4 pound to my bench press, if I could add a 1/2 pound to my bench press every other week, then I knew I was improving. And usually it was more than that. Usually I'd go up 1 pound every couple weeks. And of course, when you start getting to your maximum potential, increases become slower. But as you continue to implement the principle of Kaizen, small incremental changes over a period of time, by the time I was done with it, I had won 3 world powerlifting championships, all through small incremental changes. I did not just wake up one day and could bench press, almost 600 pounds. It required consistent dedication, intentional, consistent dedication. The hardest part of that entire thing is getting started. Because again, it disrupts your routine. It disrupts who you are. It disrupts what you're doing. And because most of us are just moist robots, we're just going through life, not really going to extremes one side or the other. We just stay in our lane and we go to work and we come home and same routine day after day after day after day. Many of us have given up on our dreams. Many of us have given up on our goals. Many of us we have forgotten how to dream. We have forgotten how to implement goals or set goals and pursue what we really want. We have forgotten what it means to grab life and take everything out of it that you possibly can. And now you're just satisfied with getting by and good enough. And so it's hard to take that first step. It requires you to wake up. Wake up from your slumber. Wake up from your routine and insert something different. And it doesn't have to be big. In fact, I encourage you to make it small. I'm telling you right now, if you have never exercised before, or if it's been a long time, please go start in month 1 of Habits to Healthy in 1 year. Begin this program. If you're not going to begin that program, begin some type of program. Get up tomorrow and do 5 push-ups and 10 toe touches. That's better than nothing. Way better than what you've been doing, if nothing is what you've been doing. Go for a walk. Set your watch. Walk away from your house for 10 minutes and turn around and walk back. You've just done a 20-minute walk. Bravo, good for you. Best exercise you could do. And then the next day, add 1 minute. Go 11 minutes and turn around, go back. Or add 30 seconds. That's a 1 minute total round trip. Kaizen, small, incremental changes. But by the time you are done with that adding 30 seconds every day to your morning walk, the next thing you know, you will be walking an hour every morning before breakfast, and you will have burned 300 calories or so before you've even consumed 1 calorie for the day. And you will be fulfilled, satisfied, and motivated. So as you know, here at First Responder Fitness, the 3 principles that we focus most on are physical fitness, mental fitness, and spiritual fitness. So let me just very quickly just kind of summarize or encapsulate each one of those and how you can insert Kaizen into each pillar of the First Responder Fitness platform. First of all, physical fitness. We've already covered all of that. Just start adding small amounts every single day. Understand that progression beats perfection. Consistency is always better than perfection. I would rather you be consistent over a long period of time than aggressive and motivated for a short period of time. I mean, let's just be honest. That is how I'd rather you do this. You can implement this with your sleep. If your sleep habits suck, if you're staying up too late, set yourself a goal to go to bed 10 minutes earlier each night for an entire week. By the end of the week, you will be going to bed an hour earlier. Okay? And that's good. You need rest and recovery. Let's say your hydration is off because you can't grow muscle without proper hydration. It requires hydration to build muscle. Well, let's say that that's off. And your goal now is, I'm going to make certain that I drink what I normally drink, but I'm going to make sure that I also drink an extra cup of water a day. And then the next day, an extra cup of water. And you will very quickly get up to the amount of water and hydration that you should be at, that level you should be at. This can happen with junk food. Imagine if you traded out. Imagine if you had a routine of waking up, not going for a walk, just waking up, stumbling out the door, stopping off at the donut shop on your way to work, picking up 2 apple fritters and a sugary coffee and stumbling into work. Can you imagine what your life would be like if every morning you just decide, okay, instead of 2 apple fritters, I'm going to do 1 apple fritter and maybe a piece of fruit, or maybe a chicken breast or some egg whites, something that adds protein to my life, yeah? Or instead of the sugary, full fat, full flavor, caramel, maca, latte, yaki, yatioto, whatever those are, you decided, okay, I'm going to go for the skinny version of the yatioto. Do it as skinny as you can. And maybe you decide to do that just every other day. You're going to do the apple fritters every other day, but every other day you're going to take one away and you're going to do egg whites. You're going to do something that adds protein to your diet. And then you're going to consistently change and improve and do better and do better and do better. You're going to add 10 grams of protein every single week until you are getting enough protein to sustain muscle mass and to build muscle. Make small incremental changes. Rome wasn't built in a day, they say. You won't change your life in a day. You can't. That's why I despise these get shredded in 2-week programs, 8 weeks to abs and sexiness. No. You didn't get 200 pounds overweight overnight. It took decades of neglect, of physical neglect. It's going to take decades, well, maybe not decades, because God loves us, and it's going to be quicker than that. But it's going to take months and months, if not a couple years, for you to get in the condition you need to get into. But so what? The time's going to pass anyway. I did an entire episode on that. Time passes anyway. Where you're going to be, you're going to go from point A to point B. What happens in between is up to you. Kaizen should be what's in between. Let's talk about mental fitness, because mental fitness is the second pillar at First Responder Fitness that is so important. And for you first responders who deal with stress all the time and are dealing with high tense situations, if you don't take care of your mental fitness, you're not taking care of your physical fitness, and you're certainly not taking care of your spiritual fitness, and you're not taking care of your family either. Mental fitness is so important. You need to learn to decompress. Perhaps start journaling. Start meditating. Just a minute a day, 2 minutes a day. Start doing breathing exercises that I've talked about in mental fitness videos in the past. Go back and watch them. Start reading books. Stop doom scrolling on your phone. Do something that benefits your mental health. Discuss and talk and decompress with your spouse. That not only helps your mental health, but it helps your relationship. Small, little incremental steps will make a huge difference in your mental fitness. Finally, in spiritual fitness, wherever you might be, you can improve it. Spend some time in meditation, in reflection of the blessings you have in your life. Because I promise you, if you're watching this or listening to this, you're blessed. Why? Because it tells me you have a phone, you have a computer, you have a TV, you have some kind of access to the internet. Okay? Can you imagine? I mean, you got to understand that in and of itself is a blessing. The fact that I can record these in my studio, bring them to you, and that you can watch them and learn, that is a blessing in and of itself. The amount of blessings that encompass just this podcast, the fact that you can watch it, listen to it, is a blessing. But I'm the least of your blessings. This podcast is the least of your blessings. Think of your family, your friends, your job, your health. Whatever that case may be, develop yourself an attitude of gratitude. Learn to appreciate better each and every day. Spend just 5 minutes a day reflecting on how great your life is, counting the little blessings in your life. What about acts of service? There's nothing better that helps you forget your misery than helping someone who's more miserable. I know that sounds terrible, but it's true. Forget about yourself for just a minute and go bless somebody else's life. Work in small increments. Use spiritual Kaizen to improve your spiritual life. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope that you understand that you do not have to change your entire life in one day. You do not have to come up with the next big thing and hope that it changes your life and makes you a quadrillionaire. You don't have to hope for the next big thing and hopefully you look like, I don't even know who's sexy anymore. I was going to say Brad Pitt. Is he sexy anymore? I don't know who the top sexy guys are out there anymore. Julia Roberts. I don't even know anymore. You don't have to hope for a huge change in your life and hope that you wake up one day and there's a huge, massive, angels singing and the sun is shining on you. Take intentional, small actions to improve every aspect of your life, bit by bit, step by step. But stop living in misery. Stop living in in comfortable misery. Stop living in comfortable misery. Wake up from this. Look and realize what you've done in your life has gotten you where you are, and start using the principles of Kaizen to change your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your spiritual fitness, and every other portion of your life where you need change. I'm here for you. First Responder Fitness is here for you. We are cheering for you. We are encouraging you, and we are supporting you. So go out and do it. Comment below. Let me know, what areas of life are you going to change? What areas of life are you working on? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, I'm Carl Wimmer, encouraging you, be good to yourself, be good to others, and as always, stay safe. Oh, I don't know. It felt good. Don't know if that was good, but it felt good. Okay. Can you put a samurai sword in my hand like this? Oh, I have a samurai sword.